Hi guys, it's April and I garden down in southeast Nebraska, zone 6A, and I don't know what the garden looks like right now. I have been sick most of the week, and so I haven't seen a lot of what's going on out here. So you and we're going to be seeing a lot of this for the first time together, and it's probably going to be a quicker tour because I don't know how long my voice is going to hold out, and B, it's going to rain at any moment. So let's get this garden tour started. So one of the newer things that I have done is I have these 3 pots. They used to be on the other side of the patio, but I moved them over here and I actually planted up one of my dwarf tomatoes. My plan is to get some marigolds and maybe another scented geranium in here so that when I pull the swing down, I've got something to keep the bugs off of me. But that leaves only 3 tomatoes that just aren't looking so good. I should probably just put in the compost pile, but I'm having a hard time letting go. You can kind of see the compost pile over there. That's the compost pile I'm talking about. And I don't know if you can hear it right now because of the microphone, but I'm getting screamed at by a robin because she has, let's see if I can show you it. She has made a nest right up there. And I'm way too close to it. So she's letting me know that this isn't cool. I need to leave, but she also doesn't really want to do anything about it but scream at me. So she's in the background. Sadly, I have not seen any pumpkins coming up right there or over here. I'm still waiting for those to sprout. I'm not 100% confident that they will at this point because it's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 very wet weeks and I haven't seen much of anything yet. But the pumpkins over here are doing very well. In the back, I believe I think that's the orange pumpkin that I've saved seeds from for years and years and years. I have zero idea what variety it is. And this, I believe, is my candy roaster. But you can also see over here, I have a ton of volunteer ground cherry. I should probably thin it out at some point because I will end up with a big old mess like the dill is. But I'm kind of just waiting and seeing which one kind of wills out and then thinning the smaller ones later. I for sure thought I wasn't going to get any ground cherries this year. I haven't started ground cherries for I think 3 years now. It's just whatever has come back each year, that's what we have because I don't particularly enjoy ground cherries, but my husband absolutely loves them, so that is for him. I'm just going to take you around the ground patch right now because we've got all kinds of things just like coming up because right here, I believe what has happened is I've got another round of dill that has decided that it wants to come up and it's in this nice little patch. Kind of annoying. I don't really need that much dill. But I almost don't have the heart to pull it out because it looks so good. Because the dill that I did plant this year that wasn't volunteer has actually started to flower. And I do have another onion sprouting up over here, which the onions that I have been finding in the ground I've been putting in these pots. And they're looking pretty good for, moving them around. Now, I don't know what kind of onion they are. I think it came from some kind of yellow onion, so it's probably either from a candy or a Walla Walla. It's one of those ones where I found it in the bed what was it, last year when I had to move all the soil out and I put it in that blue pot and it went to seed, and now it's everywhere and it's making me smile. I'm not gonna lie. But all of the potted plants are doing fairly well, and you can see we've been getting quite a bit of rain in the last couple of days. I'll quickly show you the pots over here are doing good as well. I do have a pepper plant buried in all of this dill that is starting to flower. But otherwise, this area is looking pretty good. I do need to weed around the fire pit. That annoys the heck out of me. But I'm going to take you over to the beds now. But first, I'm going to show you something I'm excited about. First off, super excited that this grape plant is as big as it is right now. I look back at here and I start to see some of this green, and it's pretty exciting. But second, we have officially finished the whole trellis. We did this last weekend. Unfortunately, it was one of the hottest days of the year so far. And then all of a sudden the temperatures have decided to cool off. Of course it did, because we got our project done. But you can see most of the grapes are still sticks, but there is one right there that is starting to sprout. So I still have hope that the rest of them will. I read somewhere that it can take up to 6 weeks for these bare roots to wake up. So I'm keeping hopeful, but I am getting excited about the prospect of starting to train this grape plant onto the trellis. Otherwise, we've got the carrots, who have been very much enjoying all of the nitrogen and the rain that has been happening, along with the bunching onions. These guys have gotten thick. I need to think of something to make with those. I'm kind of craving some kind of bulgogi or bibimbap, so that might have to happen. And I think, surprisingly, what has happened with the eggplants is the fact that it's getting too much water. I think that's why the leaves are cupping the way they are. Also the same with the tomato plants, and why it's gone a little green. I think we're having a little bit of a deficiency because of how much water has been happening. So I'm keeping my eye on that. And here we have the garlic. I did harvest some of the scapes the other day. I haven't done anything too exciting with them yet, but that shall be happening soon. But some of the smaller garlics, like these ones right here, they're not looking great. So I don't know what my garlic harvest is going to look like this year, but I'm trying to keep positive about all that. This zucchini plant is looking so good. So I may actually get zucchini this year, which I'm excited about. And I can't tell you how hard it has been to get zucchini or pumpkins. So I'm just running with this, and maybe from here on out, I need to start planting these things right next to marigolds. These tomato plants are doing well. And I don't know what happened to this nasturtium. I think it just got too heavy with rain. I'll have to come back and check on that later today. Oh, and look, I missed escape. I'm gonna have to come back for that one. Yeah, this bed is just doing so much better. I'm wondering if the first garlic bed just wasn't a good place to put it because it just gets blasted by the sun and the elements, and this one was a little more protected, and so it did a little better, but over half of this is onions, so I can't really make that judgment. So there is that. Otherwise, we do have all of the indeterminate tomatoes. I did come through and do another round of trellising. I haven't done any pruning yet because it has just been so wet and I didn't want to introduce any kind of disease. So I have been holding off doing that. But it is a little weird to see how tall these two plants are, which are the Mai Tai and the Solar Flare. So both of these are yellow and red tomatoes. So they're yellow on the outside with a touch of red on the inside. But then the ones just right here aren't doing nearly as well. So that's the Cherokee Carbon, and that is a sweet tooth. So I've never grown the sweet tooth before, along with the Mai Tai. Those are two new ones. And those onions are just taking over. It's silly. The nasturtium here is doing pretty well, and the nasturtium over here is doing really, really well. I think this is the best I've ever done with nasturtiums. I've always struggled with them. But this year they're doing well. The calendula, I might have to pull some of those out, but it is starting to flower. But they are kind of taking over. Calendula can get fairly big if you let them. What I really need to do is I need to take some of this lemon balm and I need to make tea. And I might do that after we're done here. So I'll take some from this plant and then I'll take some from this plant over here. They're technically two different varieties of an orange lemon balm. And I think that would do a lot of good for my head. And then we do have, of course, these beds as well. You can see the calendula and the nasturtiums have just been loving the weather. Along with the onions, of course. The onions are insane. I should see if I can cut up some of those tops and make some green onion powder out of them. I do have a dehydrator. I got it for Christmas this year, so I'm a little new to a lot of dehydrations. I have done tomatoes in the past in my oven just all day. I've had it on the lowest heat that you can have it, and I've tried to do that, and it's worked out fairly well. But I did do dill for the first time. I did the first run of the dehydrator, and I quite enjoyed it. I really like it so far. I'm going to try it out a couple more times on a couple of different things. Like I said, maybe I'll make some green onion powder, since I have so many bunching onions that are doing so well. But yeah, maybe I have to start doing more dehydrations. I don't know. What would you dehydrate? I know the pond is looking a little gross right now, and I'm calling it a pond because that's what it looks like, even though it's my fountain. I'm fixing that. I'm in the process of fixing that, but the rain hasn't been helping. And I'm still keeping my eye out for zinnias. And I do have a kiwi that is going to come in about a week. That's going to go right there. I'm thinking about getting some stepping stones so that I can get in the back here. But we'll see. And then over here we've got our pots that are looking lush. And I'm excited to show you this. The beans and the cucumbers. So it looks like some of the beans aren't doing too well. Like I said, I think we've just had so much water that they're just not happy right now. You can see it a little bit in some of the leaves in here. But these guys are still doing good too. This bed's actually doing fairly well this year. You can see all of the pepper plants have leaves all along the stem where all the wind took all the leaves off. But of course, with this new round of weather, what was there is starting to look a little ragged. And, ooh, I'm gonna fall over. Hold on, let me get a better squat. I think it's trying to form a pepper, but I might have to pull that off because it's not, yeah. It's not, yeah. These guys just need a chance to have a dry day. And then here, I've got the other eggplant, which, like I said, I'm fairly sure that it's too much water, not enough water, and too much water. The weather has just not been kind. And these guys are starting to bounce back too. We have this, oh my gosh, this cilantro that I'm pretty sure is trying to go to seed now. And I'm gonna let it so I can collect those seeds. But eventually I think I'm gonna have to remove the cilantro so that pepper plant has a chance. I believe that's my poblano. And this is the side of the bed that has always just been a little off. It looks like this zucchini has grown out of whatever the roly-polies were trying to do with it. And I think because it's been so wet, they haven't been attacking it quite as much. And then these ahi peppers are starting to get new leaves on them, which is a good sign. So I might actually get a couple of different varieties of ahi this year. Oh, even the potato plants are like, too much water, make it stop. So those are the beds. I'll take you over to the side of the deck. Okay, this I'm finding a little interesting. We have the beans coming up in the back pot, but not in the front pot. It looks like something kind of went wrong there. And as you can see, even my basil is looking a little funky. So something's going on with this pot right here. And I think I have some more soil that I might top this up with and try again. But that's just an idea. I have started trellising at least one of these tomatoes. The other one, yeah, he's about to the point where I could. But you can see the calendula has started to flower. And I've got some bok choy leaves here that I just kind of used as a mulch. All of the bok choy have officially started to go to seed, and yeah, most of the radishes have. So at some point I need to make the decision on whether or not I'm going to let them go to seed or if I'm going to rip them out, because I think I might rip out these bok choy just so these beets have room. But you can also see we have a ton of peas that we can harvest. I should just do some kind of stir fry with these guys because we have so many. We even have some that are coming in green, even though they're all supposed to be purple varieties. But yeah, I think This is all of my pink radishes that have bolted. And then what was left of my early radishes are starting to bolt. I think there are a few daikons in here that haven't yet, which is why part of me thinks that leaving these in here might be a good idea, because it's shading out the daikons and giving it a little microclimate of less heat. And we have what used to be the cabbage bed. In the middle, I have planted some bush beans. And then, of course, you can see the pepper and the tomato plant. And then I have my last eggplant over here, but he's looking just as unhappy as the rest of them. I do need to come in and just pull this variety of lettuce. This one's starting to bolt, so he'll be next, but I think I can still get some lettuce off of these two here. The guinea pig isn't too picky about any of that. But then we have the mess of cilantro and spinach that we have been eating off like crazy, and I love it. Even the pots back there are starting to look a little better. That's like my little nursery area now. But the last thing I want to show you is over here. And I'm hoping these guys last. But we have a whole bunch of angel hair spaghetti squash that are coming up. And they're looking really good. And I'm excited about that. It's been a while since I've grown spaghetti squash. The blueberry plants are also looking pretty good. But that is the garden as it stands right now. And I'm surprised we lasted out here as long as we did, even though I had to pause a couple times to cough. So we got a little bit longer of a garden tour than I originally thought we were going to get through, and I'm okay with that. I tend to start talking endlessly when I start walking around the garden with you guys. So it was bound to happen. I'm just surprised my voice held out for as long as it did, and the rain. So thank you guys so much for putting up for whatever this video is today. I do try to do these garden tours about once a week, just so I can see how the garden is growing and changing. There's something just magical about seeing that change happen when you can go back and look at where things used to be. So if you want to continue watching my garden grow and change, feel free to subscribe down below, hit the bell to do all the things to get all of the notification. And I do have an Instagram and Threads account, and you can follow me over there as well. I like to keep up to date on what I'm harvesting and things like that. It was a little slow this week because, like I said, I'm dealing with some health stuff. But I am starting to feel a little better, and I do know a lot of things need to be changed over, so that should be happening fairly soon. And I do have some kimchi and sauerkraut that I need to check on, because that should be done fermenting soon. So I'm excited about that. But with that, I do hope I will see you guys again in another video. And our hearts are beautiful faces. Bye.